Hello everybody, and welcome to Humboldt State University. We're up here at the Behavioral and Social Sciences building on the campus, and I'm Barb Klessig, and I'm a lecturer and experimental archaeologist here in the Department of Anthropology. What I'd like to talk to you about today is we're looking at what is available to students as far as experimental archaeology is concerned. And I'm standing out here right now at what we call our flint knapping circle. As you can see, I have a couple of my students here working on some flint knapping and basically getting a feel for how flint knapping works. We have also available to us, we have a simulated archaeological site that we'll visit here in a little bit. And we also have a teaching lab and a collections room that allows us to curate some of these projects that students have had a chance to implement and develop over the years of the course. What we do have available for students here as far as the coursework is concerned, we have two regular classes. We have an Anthropology 358, which is our experimental experiential lab, which runs for the semester, and basically gives students the chance to experience these technologies of the past by actually giving them a hands-on experience and creating the different technologies. And these can include flint knapping, textile production, metal casting, bookbinding, a number of other things that we've had a chance to do include creating a replication of Egyptian scale armor, and had a chance to add two students that actually made two Viking war shields. We also have a ANT 352, which is the experimental archaeology class where students get a chance to actually research, develop, and implement an experimental archaeology project. You can also do independent study. If you have a project that you'd like to continue with after the class is over, you can take up to 4 units to develop the project even farther, finish the project, and take that out and give it a trial. We had a chance to take the Viking shields up to our simulated site and shoot some arrows at it, along with the Egyptian armor, and we'll take a look at that a little bit when we get into the teaching lab. Hi, so we've moved here to our collections room. This is situated on the first floor of BSS, and what we have available here for students is not just the X-Arc supplies and that, but we also have an incredible zooarchaeology collection. We have a number of other collections that include bottles from the mid-19th century. We have some donated collections over the years that include medieval and Roman age metalwork. But if we come down here to our aisle, this is the experimental archaeology aisle, and this is basically where we get a chance to store everything. We have here different types of technologies that we work on. We have some metallurgy, we have woodworking, we have textiles, we have clay work. We've done as I mentioned, we've done some of the Egyptian armor where we basically worked with the leather and put it in boiling beeswax. You can see up here we have some of our other type of armor that we worked with as far as the leather armor is concerned. Okay, so over here we have our teaching lab. We have a number of things going on in here along with our experimental archaeology. But as you can see, we have a storage facility for some of our projects in the past. This includes basketry, includes fiber processing, clay, and as you can see on the table here, we have a number of things going on. We have our armor that we did one term that includes some Egyptian scale armor. We have some Mesoamerican shields, and we have a Mesoamerican sword called a maquatl. On over this way we have some ceramics that we've done in the past where we've taken and created ceramics that are similar to Neolithic and early Roman age and fired them. We have some of our stonework where we've not only created molds for metal casting, we've been working with spindle whorls and creating loom weights with the soapstone itself, and some of the basket weaving and weaving that goes on here in our lab. Now, as we move to the other side, we see Tim standing over here, standing with a Zulu war shield that was recreated, one of our students, and the Utsi copperhead axe that was part of one of our group's term project. And then in the back there we have not only a small version of a warp-weighted loom, we have the metallurgy, and we have bookbinding supplies.
Hello everyone, my name is Eli and I wanted to share my experiences in the HSU XArch lab today. Over the course of the semester, we explored how experimental archaeology can help us understand the technologies of the past, and through hands-on experience, we analyzed a variety of forms of ancient technologies that ranged from flint knapping, textiles, metalworking, ceramics. Unfortunately, my ceramics project did not survive the fire kiln, but hey, trial and error, and it was a fun experience nonetheless. Since we unfortunately cannot directly observe the past, Professor Klustig really helped us work towards understanding the patterns that we see today in the archaeological record. And I found this to be a perfect opportunity to get hands-on learning experience while putting away that inner armchair archaeologist and getting out there and adding this scientific tool to my experience. Thank you guys.
So we're up here at our simulated archaeological site. This is where we have not just some experimental archaeology going on, but we do have some simulated archaeological excavations. What we have over here on my right side is a Wattle and Daub project that was created by some of my students. We don't have enough land to be able to do a full-size structure, so we got to play a little bit with this 2x2 structure. And basically what they did is they scavenged for what you see in the construction, the structure here itself, from around the area. They used different types of materials for the wattle itself, and the daub is actually from the clay here in the site itself. Now, to the right of the wattle and daub, we have what we call an acorn silo. This was based on silos found down in Southern California with the Chumash Indians. One of my Native American students decided she wanted to try and do a project with her tribal connections. And what she was building here is a silo that would allow them to store acorns up off the ground. We have a platform that a basket could be put on. The structure would be completely covered. There'd be a roof over the top of it, and this would keep the acorns safe for the duration of the winter itself. So that's our campus in a nutshell. We love what we do here as experimental archaeologists. I'm proud of my students who have been part of our projects over the years. If you'd like any more information, please contact me. You can find me at humboldt.edu/anthropology. Barb Klustig again. My email is bkk4@humboldt.edu. Thanks so much for being with us here up in our wonderful redwoods and California coast. Hello everyone, it's me again. I'm back in my home office here, what I like to call BSS Annex. I wanted to thank you so much for setting in on our presentation here and giving us a chance to tell you a little bit more about the experimental archaeology here at Humboldt State University. Following this message, there'll be some pictures of some of the past projects and past labs that we've had for experimental archaeology. And I hope you enjoy looking through them because they do bring back some great memories as far as some of the experimental work we've had a chance to do. If you would like more information about what's happening as far as Humboldt State experimental archaeology is concerned, by all means, please email me at bkk4@humboldt.edu. You can also check out our website, humboldt.edu/anthropology. And you can go and see what some of the other projects are as far as experimental archaeology is concerned, and what we've been delving into. Again, thanks so very much. Have a really great conference. I look forward to the chance to meeting you at hopefully those future conferences where we get a chance to meet face to face. Thanks again, and goodbye.